Welcome to the Deep Dive Books channel, where we hope you find something valuable every day.
Today, we begin discussing a book published on August 6, 2024, titled 10 to 25. The Science of Motivating Young People. A groundbreaking approach to leading the next generation and making your own life easier. You might wonder, do ages 10 and 25 really belong to the same age group? Surprisingly, they do. They are both considered adolescents. Adolescents share common traits, and interacting with them requires special attention. This book is not just for parents. It's also written for teachers, leaders, and anyone who wishes to support the growth of young people. Of course, they might not necessarily want your help. That's the challenge. The book includes a real-life story that is particularly representative. A fashion accessory company, whose primary customers are young people, needed to understand their views. The company manager had a young female employee, 23 years old and fresh out of college. On the one hand, the manager relied on her for insights into the latest market trends. On the other, he wanted to mentor her and help her grow. However, their communication was somewhat strained, as the young employee seemed hesitant to express her true thoughts, leaving the manager dissatisfied. During a high-level company meeting, the manager directly asked her a question. From a young person's perspective, what's your opinion on this product? To him, this was an easy question. Just think from the consumer's viewpoint, and anyone her age could probably say a few words. However, the young employee performed disastrously. The other executives noticed and were unimpressed. After the meeting, the manager told her, "You missed a great opportunity to shine in front of senior leadership and potentially earn a promotion." Unexpectedly, the employee was furious. From her perspective, being asked to speak without prior preparation was setting her up for failure. Was the manager unhappy with her and deliberately trying to make her look bad in front of leadership? Was this his way of proving that her incompetence was to blame rather than his inability to mentor her? Shortly after, she resigned. The rift between manager and employee, despite seeing each other daily, had escalated to this point. The manager genuinely wanted to support her, but the employee felt he was working against her. What went wrong? The book's author, David Yeager, is a professor at the University of Texas at Austin and a developmental psychologist. Or as he describes himself, a developmental scientist. Developmental psychology studies how humans grow and change throughout life. We are fortunate to live in an era with new and more accurate insights into many phenomena. Developmental psychology is a vibrant field of study that tackles common, though not necessarily age-old, questions. The concept of adolescence is relatively new. A century ago, there was no such term as teenager. Back then, 12-year-olds worked on farms or started jobs, leaving no time to experience the so-called confused teenage years. If you ask how adolescents should grow, Confucius provided a clear answer long ago. At home, be filial to your parents. Outside, respect your elders. Be cautious, trustworthy, and love all equally while associating with virtuous people. If there's energy left, use it to study literature. Essentially, listen to your parents at home, obey your elder siblings outside, fulfill your responsibilities, and if you have spare time, study. This approach, however, does not suit modern adolescents. Today's world is increasingly complex, requiring extensive education to assume societal roles. Many remain children even after graduating from college. Adolescence has become a prolonged phase. During this time, adolescents exhibit behaviors distinct from both children and adults. Children under 10 tend to follow instructions. If encouraged, they do. If forbidden, they refrain. They greatly value the opinions of parents and teachers, which is why 8-year-olds are often described as lovable and emotionally rewarding. But everything changes when they reach adolescence. They become rebellious. Yeager observed that U.S. government programs aimed at adolescents, such as campaigns against smoking and drug abuse, not only failed but sometimes had the opposite effect. When such behaviors were discouraged, teenagers were even more inclined to try them. A friend of Yeager, a skilled middle-aged surgeon, mentored several medical students and residents. Following the principle of deliberate practice, he provided immediate feedback whenever young trainees made mistakes, pointing out errors and explaining the correct approach. Strangely, the trainees kept repeating the same mistakes. Stanford social psychologist Jeffrey Cohen conducted similar investigations. Professors meticulously marked students' essays and provided detailed feedback, yet the second drafts often showed minimal changes. Law firm partners critiqued junior lawyers' briefs, and product designers reviewed novice designers' work. None of these critiques led to significant improvements. Parents educating their children faced the same issue. This phenomenon is known as the mentor's dilemma. When confronting a young person's poor performance, honest feedback triggers a strong rebellious reaction, causing them to ignore the advice. On the other hand, avoiding criticism to maintain harmony means tolerating their subpar performance. What's the solution? One popular method was the praise sandwich, where criticism was wrapped between two layers of praise. Start by commending their enthusiasm, then address the critique, e.g. pointing out flaws in their work, and end with more praise, such as acknowledging their cooperative attitude. Even with such efforts, today's adolescents cannot handle criticism. They shut down at the first hint of it. The prevailing view is that teenagers are simply like this. Rebellious during adolescence. And you just have to wait for them to grow out of it. Yeager, however, proposed a new theory in the mid-2010s with co-authors Ron Dahl and Carol Dweck, renowned for her growth mindset theory. This theory is called the status and respect hypothesis. They argued that, from age 10 to 25, individuals are in a unique state. During this period, their bodies, brains, and social relationships undergo significant changes. Hormones make the brain's reward-seeking regions particularly sensitive, intensifying their responsiveness to both rewards and shame. Adolescents crave respect and fear losing status. While everyone values respect and status, adolescents are especially attuned to these. Like a starving person who sees everything as food, they interpret almost everything in terms of status and respect. How sensitive are they? Even if you simply intend to offer objective feedback to help them improve their technique, they might perceive it as disdain. They may feel humiliated, frustrated, and hurt. In every interaction with elders or authority figures, they sense a fear of losing status. Am I not good enough? Have I just proven that I don't belong here? This can trigger imposter syndrome. If you want to help them improve, you must first provide them with a sense of security. So, how should we provide feedback? Yeager and Cohen, mentioned earlier, developed an effective method in 2014 to resolve the mentor's dilemma, called wise feedback. In one experiment, 7th grade students, roughly middle school age, were asked to write essays and received critical feedback from teachers. The students were randomly divided into two groups, each receiving a note alongside the critique. The control group's note simply stated, "I'm giving you this feedback to help you improve your essay." The experimental group received a wise feedback note. "I'm giving you this comments because I have very high standards, and I know you can reach them." The results were striking. In the control group, only 40% of students revised their essays. In the wise feedback group, 80% revised their essays, making twice as many improvements. This effect was particularly pronounced among Black students, who responded especially positively when they saw that the teacher valued them so highly. This approach reflects the principle of pacing and leading. The idea is to provide a sense of security. You hold a high position in my mind, I have a positive view of you, and I hold such high expectations for you. The middle-aged doctor mentioned earlier adopted this method with his junior doctors after learning about it, and the results were excellent. His surgical unit achieved the best performance in the hospital and fostered the most positive workplace culture. This is just a simple method and may not apply to every situation, but I believe its significance lies in understanding the unique psychological state of adolescence. If you were an adolescent, you would face similar struggles. Imagine a 19-year-old basketball player being drafted as the NBA's top pick. Upon joining the team, the coach immediately points out flaws in his shooting technique and insists he must change it. The coach sees this as objective advice, but the rookie interprets it as the club rejecting him right away. Does this mean my top pick status is undeserved? Is my career already at risk? Or think of a top student from a remote region entering China's prestigious Peking University. He discovers his peers are not only high achievers but also incredibly smart, well-read, eloquent, and seemingly masters of every skill. Effortlessly dazzling with their computer expertise. By contrast, he feels like a product of rote learning, excelling only at exams. Would he lose his confidence entirely? I've heard that boys and girls respond differently to such situations. Girls tend to aspire to improve when faced with better peers, thinking, I'm behind, but I'll learn from them. Over time, their skills catch up. Boys, on the other hand, may feel defeated if they encounter an exceptionally talented roommate. Realizing they can't surpass them academically, they might choose to give up. If I can't beat you in this subject, I'll quit and focus on gaming or something else where I can still be the champion. Yeager's grandfather experienced something similar. Coming from a small town to attend university, he soon realized his grades were poor. He quickly packed up and returned home. In fact, such strong pride among young people can be seen as a noble quality. You must find the courage to leave the table, if respect is no longer being served. But this is also an extremely dangerous situation. They need help. At this moment, the role of a mentor is to reassure them. There's no need to worry. This is just the beginning, and these minor setbacks don't mean anything. You have great potential. We have high expectations for you. As long as you stay, I'm confident you'll succeed. Fortunately, Yeager's grandfather had a wise mother. She didn't need much effort to convince her son to return to university. She even arranged for a friend to look after him. That young man not only graduated with excellent grades but also served heroically in World War II. After the war, he started his own business and helped many others, becoming a true success story. Had he given up then, his life's trajectory would have been entirely different. In adolescence, there are countless possibilities. Sometimes, the paths leading to the best outcomes can be extinguished by impulsive decisions. As mentors, how can we not approach this with great care? That's it for today's content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
If you feel there is value in this, please like, subscribe to this channel, and leave your thoughts or suggestions in the comments section. Let's grow together and read more good books.